Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Dafuq Did I Just Watch? With your host, as always, Kyle McLemore. This week we'll be recapping and reviewing the latest mystery thriller from director Robert Rodriguez. That's right, it's Hypnotic. Now, before we get too far along in the review, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as it's much appreciated and it helps keep the show alive. And if you haven't seen Hypnotic and would still like to, make sure you pause now and return later, as there may be several spoilers up ahead. That's right, this is your official spoiler alert. Hypnotic is both written and directed by Robert Rodriguez, whose previous work includes Alita Battle Angel, basically every Spy Kid film ever made, and Robert Rodriguez also gets a lifetime pass for directing the great Desperado. Hypnotic has a relatively small cast and for the most part stars Ben Affleck and Alice Braga. Ben Affleck, you may recognize from, he's Ben Affleck. Do you really not recognize? He was most recently in Air. Also, most recently is Bruce Wayne / Batman in the Justice League movies. And you may recognize Alice Braga from her work in I Am Legend, or maybe when she was in Elysium. Now, going into this film, I was very excited as I am a huge Robert Rodriguez fan. Having said that, I do recognize that his films tend to be either grand slams or complete strikeouts. There is no middle ground with Robert Rodriguez. He either sends that thing flying into the stratosphere or it is just a terrible strikeout. And I was even more intrigued because the mystery thriller genre is not typically something that Robert Rodriguez is known for. And Hypnotic promised to be a movie full of twists and turns and unexpected surprises. The biggest surprise of all being how bad this movie is. So let's talk about some of the performances in Hypnotic. The film stars Ben Affleck as our lead detective who we're following as he tries to make it through his day-to-day while trying to ignore the fact that his daughter was kidnapped. It's hard to pinpoint what was so off about Ben Affleck's performance. I've seen him in other films. I've seen him be a great actor. So to see him be so strangely he's almost doing a Clint Eastwood impersonation where he's always kind of squinty, always kind of got this weird intensity that just doesn't come off as natural. It just comes off as you're playing this weird hard-nosed 1950s detective personality. I don't know. And he's always got this thing on his voice, always this weird intensity with his voice, all the time. And I don't know. It just never felt natural. And as for Alice Braga, she's not bringing a ton to the table either. Her performance is sort of underwhelming. It's sort of monotone, and it's weird too because her character is constantly flip-flopping sides. She goes good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy, and it doesn't fluctuate with her personality or her acting at all. It's all kind of monotone the entire film. Hypnotic also stars William Fichtner, who I'm a big fan of way back in those Prison Break days. You might recognize him also in Armageddon. William Fichtner is awesome. You know what he's not great in? Hypnotic. He's never really menacing or never really feels like a bad dude. And he's got such strange delivery on all of his lines. Anytime there's a showdown, they got the guns on him and he's just but I'm not the right guy. He's doing this weird William Shatner impersonation, and then you gotta see when he runs. They're doing a chase scene where they're chasing him on foot, and he's doing the most the weirdest run I've ever seen on screen. If there is one saving grace in this movie, if there is one scene in this movie that is hey, this is actually tolerable, it's when Jackie Earle Haley pops in for briefly maybe 5 minutes. And out of the entire hour-and-a-half movie, those 5 minutes with Jackie Earle Haley are probably the best acting we get in this whole film. And Jackie Earle Haley knew. He had to know because all of his scenes are just in one chair. He's sitting down in all of his scenes. He doesn't stand up once. He's no, this movie doesn't deserve me acting on my feet. I'll give you a great performance sitting down, But on my feet, no, not for this movie. I mean, if you want to get technical about it, I guess, yes, technically there are quite a few twists and turns. It's just unfortunate that all of those twists and turns are either really boring or just really lame. Hypnotic does have a very hypnotic effect because it hypnotizes you into thinking like, oh, this isn't an hour-and-a-half movie. It hypnotizes you into thinking that this is like a 4-hour movie because the pacing is so slow and uninteresting and all the story is so boring. It just drags forever. And anytime there is like an action sequence, it's just like, ugh, this looks terrible. Or anytime they're using their hypnotic powers, they're basically visually not doing anything. So visually, it's super boring to just watch somebody just like, I'm using my power. And then also, there's this strange, like, Inception ripoff that's going on. Christopher Nolan is about to be pissed when he sees this movie. There's scenes when he's like, I'm hypnotized, and like the world is like doing like that Inception curl thing, and it's like, okay, A, you're totally ripping Nolan, and B, it doesn't even look good, dude. It looks like this weird kaleidoscope effect that just looks terrible. And so let's hit Hypnotic with our overall rating. With overall underwhelming performances and some twists and turns that are so lame, that are so boring that they border on like comedic. It is so like, did you guys annihilate your entire budget? And so that's why this is the twist. I don't want to even say it because it's so lame, dude. It is so shockingly lame that it almost turns the movie into a comedy. That's how lame it is. So overall, we're going to have to hit Hypnotic with a F. That's right, this is a Dafuq first. It's our very first F rating. If you felt differently about Hypnotic, make sure you comment down below. And if you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button because it's much appreciated. I am your host as always, Kyle McLemore, and we'll see you next time at the movies.